Welcome to Business Unveiled Podcast. This is the place where we help overwhelmed, time-starved entrepreneurs like you make the profitable shifts to get more done and get more out of life. I'm your host, Angela Profit, award-winning 8-figure entrepreneur and CEO. And in every episode of Business Unveiled, I'm bringing you conversations that will give you the expertise and strategies that will scale your team and business so you can get shit done. That's GSD in our world. So get your time back and grow a business that helps you be present in your life. Let's do this, y'all. This episode is brought to you by the GSD Academy. This step-by-step business productivity online program will share with you exactly how to shift your mindset, set boundaries, build rock-solid processes, customize your message in order to strategically grow your revenues and get shit done. Visit angelaprofit.com/GSD Academy. Hi, y'all. It's Angela. I'm back for another episode of Business Unveiled. And I'm so excited for our guest today because I think I'm going to learn a lot. I love learning all about digital marketing. And when I was first looking at this guest and about the company, I'm like, ooh, I love dogs. So, what is this company, HelloWoofy? And it's just like, when you see those business names and it doesn't necessarily, what it is or what it does, but you just have to learn about it.
Yep.
That's what this name did for me. And so I'm excited to bring on Arjun Rai. He is going to really give us some great nuggets on digital marketing, which you guys know that I'm a complete nerd about. And so we're going to jump in and just tell you some things and how it's done. Now, if you're driving, just remember we'll put all this in the show notes and we'll share a link at the end because I feel like it's going to be one of those podcasts where you're like, oh my gosh, I need to stop and take notes and write this down to grow my business. So just be safe. So, Arjun, welcome to the show today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Angela, for the opportunity. And truly an honor. And hi, everyone. My name is Arjun, like Argentina without the Tina, and founder and CEO at HelloWoofy, which we like to say we are a smart marketing dashboard or platform for underdogs. To your point earlier, we love supporting underdogs, and we like to call them, rather, they're known as the smallest of small businesses or small businesses overall.
And I love it, which I didn't even, I'm like, yeah, you know what? Sometimes, when you're not in digital marketing and you don't have access to all of this data and
Yep.
all of the shiny new softwares, you kind of are the underdog, which I never even thought of it that way. But what I'm really excited to know is how, where did you grow up? How did you get involved in digital marketing and then doing all this data around emojis because
Sure.
I can't wait to hear your journey and how you've gotten to where you are today.
No, it's a great question, and so I've been pretty much throughout my entire life, I've been very entrepreneurial, selling things here and there, even as a, as a kid, and formerly building a startup at 17 in the advertising space, and then building a social media agency, which was basically an ad agency doing social media work, and then raising capital in college to build a software company that sold into agencies, which was primarily focused on collaborating around a limitless canvas, and you can drag and drop people, projects, files onto it, almost like Iron Man or Minority Report. And we figured out we were too early for our own good, and so ended up building Woofy after that, shortly thereafter. And we pivoted a little bit. We figured things out as well, but we've only been in market, believe it or not, with Hello Woofy for about 11 months. And this year we grew 21,900%. And we're about to do probably 250,000 in revenue on a massively discounted rate. $49 a year for everything that we're about to talk about today.
Just
And
crazy.
yeah, and
Priceless,
and and so
crazy.
and so we're on a mission to help small businesses. We started that mission back in November and December of last year, but with COVID happening and everything else, it was interesting because a lot our demographic, it was, if it was, X percent, it was now like 500% bigger, because everyone was becoming a small business owner, everyone was becoming a coach, everyone was, launching their podcast, and we're right there supporting small businesses, underdogs, with, for the price of a cup of coffee.
Literally. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So, okay, I have to ask,
Mhm.
how did y'all come up with the name?
So I love dogs, and I've always grown up with Maltese, and so that's where the white collar dog comes in, and so that's kind of where the I guess the mascot and the idea comes in. But the idea is really around or the concept around your best friend. He or she teaches you when, how, and what to post, and is always by your side as your best friend. And so similarly, the platform, as you start typing, it automatically completes the words for you. We like to say it fetches emojis and hashtags for you as well, depending on what you're typing. And then if you upload any images, it'll look at the image, and then give you corresponding hashtags. And there's a whole bunch of other capabilities as well, but the concept is to make it very user friendly, but also friendly to use, just like your best friend, he has your back.
Oh my gosh. So, do you still have a Maltese dog?
My dad does. I have been approved to become a foster parent or be able to adopt a dog here in New York. So I'm looking, and I
Oh.
might be getting one very soon.
Okay, well, look. Come say hi, Lily.
Oh,
Come say
hi. That's exactly it. Hi. Oh,
come
I
say hi.
love Maltese. So cute. Oh, the paws are so cute.
So, I have two. They're Lily and Pepe. Say hi,
Oh,
Pepe.
oh,
Say
this one looks like you just
hi.
woke him up.
I did. But they're brother sister and they're Maltipoo. And so she took after the Maltese and he took after the poodle.
Yep.
And people
Yep.
cannot believe they're brother and sister,
Wow.
but they're so different. They're so different. But my dogs are my children. And
Mm.
so when I saw your branding, I'm like, this is genius. Like, but I'm like, there has to be a story behind it.
Yeah.
So I totally get it. Talk to us a little bit about your experience with building sales funnels
Sure.
and by using and I love the emoji stuff, which I'm laughing because years ago when the iPhone came out with the emoji board and my much younger team members are like, "Oh my god, you can like do this little poopy thing and you can that was like my first introduction to like an emoji is shit, literally.
Sure.
And
Sure.
I'm like, "What are y'all talking about?" I'm like, "I don't have time for this shit. Like just text me the words of what I need to know and like let's move on." And so then like it kept like coming up more and more and more and more. And then when I
Mm.
got into the digital marketing world and we started building on different platforms and doing strategy for sales, I'm like, maybe I should like understand this emoji thing.
Sure.
And so then that led me to use Marco Polo, which is, I mean, that just takes all the miscommunication because you can see my face and you can see when I'm being sarcastic. And when
Mm.
I'm like, shit's getting real. You need to go back and do it, you know. So, but I don't ever want to offend anybody.
Mm.
But Marco Polo, the way that they use emojis is so that when someone is, that's how I know my team members have seen my video message is because they'll
Mm.
do like a thumbs up or they'll do like a heart. And so it's really fascinating to me over the years how you can send a series of emojis and you know exactly what people are talking about.
Mhm.
So, in your experience, since you've been doing and working in all of this sales funnel stuff, have you always have emojis always been like a part of it, or did it like slowly come into that? And if so, like how
Right.
did that change?
Well, so we do have emojis all over our sales funnels, but I think the thing to keep in mind about the sales funnel is that it doesn't have to be overly thought out. It just needs to be very simple, and the call to action has to be upon every scroll. And so those are the important elements of that, and make it obviously super easy to transact and check out. Which, if you haven't read Russell Brunson's book, is expert secrets, or
Yep.
traffic secrets.
Yep.
Those are really good books about, especially traffic secrets, about upselling and things like that. But in our case, just a very simple product offering, make it enticing. It originally it was like $588 or in pricing, but we're charging $49 for the year. There's a call to action. There's a buy now button that follows you across the entire scrolling of the website. So those are little things that you need to keep in mind. And you can find resources on Fiverr for, $50, $100 to build the entire funnel for you. And then, we were able to we spent $200, give or take. We spent a couple of $1,000s in Facebook ads. Half of revenue comes through Facebook ads. And to date, we've done about $130,000 in revenue from that one sales funnel that we then replicated for partners and customized it for partners as well. But that was it. And then obviously we have emojis in there. We have call to actions. We make it super visual so that the customer can understand very easily what they're being offered, and they can transact right there.
So I was speaking at a tech conference a few years ago,
Hmm.
and another speakers, he was specifically speaking on growth hacking,
Mm.
and he was showing us some studies on the button color matters.
Yep.
The
Green and red. We use
yep,
green.
yep, and then also the shape of the button,
Yep.
like
Yep.
square or rounded edges or not rounded edges.
Yep.
And then what it actually says, like what is the text actually saying?
Yep.
And so it was very interesting to me. And that's actually where I really adopted, like, okay, we got to A B split test everything. We're not
Mm.
making a decision until we literally split test everything. And it
Yep.
sucks because every time, like, I took myself out of the process a long time ago because I had to buy a lot of dinners and a lot of wine from my team. And so I'm like, well, I think this picture, or I think this would work. And what we think, and I also, what I learned about myself is I had an emotional attachment to
Sure.
some of those clients, which that's why I liked the pictures.
Yep.
And so in marketing, it's a completely different world. And yes, you want to pull emotion, but I lost every single time. And the reason I
Right.
lost is because the analytical data smart team that I have, they're 5 steps ahead of me. They're like, oh, well, we already split tested those 3 pictures. So we knew you were going to lose anyway. I'm like,
Yep.
that is really mean sometimes, but it put me in my place. And it was like, okay, what you think, what's actually going to convert, meaning clicking, putting your credit card in, converting, getting a sale is not, you don't know what you don't know.
Sure.
And
Yep.
so, what has your experience been with like split testing? I'm assuming you guys do that
No,
before
you're
you do
you're
all your.
absolutely you're absolutely right. I mean, if you take a look at the emoji trend report, which is by Adobe, it came out I think middle of last year in July or sometime, 2019, and it literally talks about which emojis are the most popular, which combination of emojis are really popular. We're actually tracking now, the which emojis are actually being used around the world. So, for viewers who are not able to see right now, I'm basically pulling up a
Ooh.
ticker that we built that literally figures out which ones are being used around the world in real time. And so if you want to take a look at this, if you want to take a look at the flower, it gives you a little bit of understanding of what's happening there. We also built a sentiment tracker so we can actually tell you how happy or not so happy the world is right now in terms of real-time analysis. But we're literally taking data science to a whole new level to figure out, based on what I've entered, in this case, I entered I love dogs. It starts figuring out, this is a sample of what's happening on the back end in terms of why are we giving you those recommendations. Like love does really well with fitness, and fitness does really well with these other hashtags and these emojis and things like that. So this is a very small data set of a very small sentence, I love dogs. But the idea is, and for viewers who are not able to see, we're basically looking at a graph. It's called a complex graph. And so you're able to see which words tend to do well with which other words, which other hashtags, which hashtags tend to do well with other emojis, which other emojis do well with other emojis. So it's a very interesting approach to building that out. But I do recommend the listeners to take a look at the emoji trend report, because it talks about not only the trust factor and how people are willing to trust more, but they're also willing to convert into purchasers. People are willing to buy more when they see emojis and the use of them, and obviously the engagement goes through the roof as well.
Okay, y'all, what I just saw was like the coolest thing I've ever flipping seen. So if I'm like, okay, you sold me that little thing because we put a word in, and then my team can go, and instead of like going, because we use a couple different apps and like
Hmm.
softwares
Hmm.
that show like what, but I've never seen it like that.
Sure.
And I'm a visual person because I'm a creative person, and
Yep.
so
And
while
it'll
words,
even complete the sentence for you. Like for example, if I'm typing in a post here, right? So if I'm typing in, let's say, I love, which of course we love you and my coffee, it'll automatically complete the sentence for me and then give me the right emojis in the bottom, and then give me the appropriate emojis there. Now, the other thing we're working on is not only giving you emojis that are relevant to what you typed in so far, but sentiment wise, what is, from a perspective of emotion, are these emojis actually relevant to what you've written here so far, which is, it could be anywhere from neutral to positive. And then if you don't, if you want to use a hashtag, like if you want to turn this into a hashtag, you could be like, maybe I don't like coffee, I want to use I love my coffee lover, and so on and so forth. So it'll give you other hashtag recommendations as well. Now, the other cool thing is that if I don't want to, let's say if I go ahead and turn this into coffee, and again, for viewers who are not able to see what I'm doing here, I'm just double clicking on words and switching them out for another one, turning them into hashtags, switching out for other hashtags. When I click on the purple dot, it'll find memes for me that are relevant to what image, what I've written so far, or static images that are royalty free that I could use with the post itself. And it'll automatically figure out based on the imagery what hashtags will do really well. So what I'm, again, for people who aren't able to see what I'm doing right now, is literally looking at an image that was recommended based on the artificial intelligence and then detecting hashtags. And I have a fully optimized post here, and I can go ahead and turn this into, I don't know, French if I wanted to, and it'll be we're good to go.
okay, this is flipping amazing. And we'll put all this on YouTube so that you guys that can only listen, like you're gonna want to gotta see this because this is the coolest thing. So is this like when people subscribe
Mhm.
to your product, is this like what they get? Like,
They do, yeah. And so
oh my
this is
God.
literally beating the beep out of our competition. I mean, a lot of our competitors, they tend to look like this, right? They tend to be very
Yes.
old school. They tend to be very, clunky, but they've been around for a very long time. You have a tremendous amount of respect for them. But there's no AI, there's no data science. And then when you take a look at tools that are a little bit more robust, a little bit more, enterprise grade, they totally have the data you need, but there's very little science involved. There's no data science, there's no artificial intelligence, and this will cost you, $50,000, $500,000 a year. And so we were like, we need to build something that actually is intelligent. It's super simple to use. Even a kid could use it if they wanted to, so long as they have their, parents' permission. And now we're actually building the world's first Alexa scheduler. So you, Angela, as a podcaster, you could now schedule content directly into all of your listeners' living rooms, either as video or audio, and they can say literally just play the Angela Profits, skill, podcast skill or something like that, and automatically will be on their TV. And so we grew really fast. We grew nearly 22,000%. And
Yeah.
we grew with, we actually partnered with our biggest competitor, which is Hootsuite.
Uh-huh.
And so we've done pretty well for ourselves. But again, we're building this technology to help the underdog, right? To your point, and you can do social media right now. You can do, blogging as well. You can automatically type entire blog posts. You can also type anywhere on the internet now using the Google Chrome extension. I could do the exact same thing, typing a blog post and my coffee, and it'll automatically complete the sentence there, switch it out for me. So the Google Chrome extension actually even allows you to do that outside of HelloWoofy.
Okay, but you guys built that extension obviously, and it's
Yes.
in the App Store, in
Yep.
Chrome
The
App Store.
Chrome app, the Chrome store. Yep.
Oh my God, I'm gonna go get it as soon as we get off. I'm like, this is, and it's so affordable,
Yep. Yep.
which is awesome.
Which it's all about
So
the feedback. That's the most important thing for us. Is how can we make it better, and we can talk about Facebook groups and how that's been very valuable to us. But yeah.
yeah, yeah, because I know that you guys have an awesome, robust Facebook group. And
Hmm.
so you were telling me earlier, like before we got on and started to record, like you actually listen
Hmm.
and then you deliver.
Yep.
So how, when you all started is it a private Facebook group?
It is a private Facebook group,
Okay.
but it's private and public. In terms of like the feedback is coming from our customers. They're telling us every single day what's working, what isn't working. So then again, for viewers or listeners who can't see the screen, we have nearly 2,300 people in here. We have nearly 7,000 customers, and as you can see, we obviously love dogs. But every single day I'm responding in video, asking people what is working for them. I'm responding to their questions in video, which is they're not expecting that obviously to be a thing. And I think that's the best way to again, we're a B2B company, but if you really want to be differentiating yourself, you have to be able to, act like a B2C company at the human level. And so every single day, people are, jumping in and telling us exactly what they want us to build, what's not working for them, what is working for them. And I think that's the best way to build a company. And then what we can do further is raise capital from them. So we've been, raising capital. We've raised over $500,000 so far from the public markets, and it's through Rec CF, which is equity crowdfunding. A lot of our customers have put in as low as $100. Some have put in $10,000 into the company, and as we grow, they obviously grow as well on paper.
Okay, so for people who are listening who are not familiar
Mm-hmm.
with crowdfunding, raising money,
Yep.
you might hear people say like, capital or angel investor. Can you
Mm-hmm.
explain to them exactly how would you go about that? Because
Sure.
you were telling me earlier you love how, people put in, everybody gets a piece of the pie.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can go deeper with that.
Sure. So, for example, we have a campaign running right now, which is an equity crowdfunding campaign that we started a couple of weeks ago, and we raised about 130,000 so far. And so the idea is literally anyone can invest as low as $100. This is a platform using, called Republic. There's other platforms like Start Engine, Seed Invest, WeFunder that anyone can use, so long as obviously they get approved and they're able to do all the paperwork and the legal side of things. But so this is our second campaign. Between the first campaign and the second campaign, we raised about, like I said, a little over 500, $500,000, and we'll probably raise a little bit more as well before our second campaign ends. But this is a really good way for companies to be able to raise capital because it allows them to raise capital from their customers and get a little bit of notoriety on the public on the public side, and you can give benefits of it as well to you can give perks, and there's valuation, there's a whole 9 yards here. I do encourage everyone to look at the benefits of this, and typically you could only raise up to $1,070,000. But as of Monday, the Securities Exchange Commission, which kind of dictates all the terms of this kind of a raise or approach, they've raised it to $5 million. So that means
Wow.
that a lot of people, a lot of small businesses or startups can raise a lot more capital and for a longer period of time than they were able to do before, which means a lot more opportunities.
So does this platform, I'm not super familiar with that platform, but does it work where other platforms, like for example, if you have a goal of $100,000 and you
Hmm.
only get to $85,000,
Yeah, you
like
have to raise the
how does that
minimum.
work?
You have to raise the minimum. So in our example here for this campaign, it was 25,000, and we're already for like 520,000, 520% of the minimum goal raise, right? So we've raised quite a bit more than the minimum, and so after that, it's just whatever the maximum we can raise legally is the limit.
So then when that's over and it's closed out, then what happens?
Then you have to wait for the escrow to send over the capital and things like that. But you could do another campaign so long as you fit within the limits of how much you're supposed to raise within a 12-month period. And if you're well below it, then you could do another round. You can wait a little bit and then do a round. Totally depends on the strategies of the company.
And so then I'm assuming then you take the money and you reinvest it back into the
Correct.
technology to
Yep.
continue to build more and more on it.
Research and development. Yeah, we have a great data science team. We're a great team of engineers, and so that's why we're kicking a asterisk asterisk right now, based on our competition who really don't care about small businesses. They say they do, but for example, one of our competitors is a publicly traded company, 2.3 billion dollars in market cap, and their cheapest prices are over $100. and small businesses, and it doesn't give you that much AI capabilities at all, or no AI capabilities, and doesn't give you that much capabilities in general.
And usually it's $100 per month, you guys, not
Yes.
like
Oh
for
yeah.
lifetime. So let me just clarify that
Oh
because
yeah. Twelve hundred
it's
dollars a year. You're already in, and with no benefits of and data science or AI capabilities.
this it's just insane. So we used to use Hootsuite years ago,
Hmm.
and then we split test some things, and we noticed that if we would post on each platform, on each respective platform, or use that platform's scheduling tool or like Creator Studio or whatever, that the engagement was better. I don't know how much truth to that there is. Do you
Hmm.
have any insight to that?
Yeah, it's I mean, we obviously use our own tool, and we get great
Sure.
engagement in our own Facebook group. So we do believe that if you're able to think a little bit about what you're about to say, then doing it in the moment on the platform itself. And obviously with our data science, we're looking at tens of millions of data points and conversations to optimize everything you're typing. You're going to get more insightful posts out the door. Plus the recognition, the image recognition, plus the emoji, data science, plus the hashtag analysis, the whole 9 yards. You basically have, multiple data points that if you had to hire for each data point an individual, you'd be spending tens of thousands of dollars. So we obviously give you that for the price of a coffee. And so what we're finding is that more insightful, thought-provoking, you know posts come out as a result of just typing something in randomly, and then going to Twitter, then Facebook, and then doing it on Instagram, one at a time. So we do believe that the platform allows you to not only schedule with thought-provoking and insightful content, but the AI itself will make it even better.
This is so incredible. I'm like so geeking out right now. I'm like, oh my God, this is
Hmm.
so awesome. Like, how am I just now hearing about this? But you're under a year old.
Yep. We've only
So
been around for, like I said, we've only been around for 11 months, but we've grown 21,900%, which is staggering. But
that's crazy. I've never, and I mean, I'm totally geeking out.
yep.
So, in your platform, are people? One thing that I'm on the hunt for right now is a platform that allows all of the messages to be managed in one place because you know Hootsuite only allows so, and actually they I don't think that we could pull any of our DMs or messages. Like, I know now Facebook and Instagram are pulled together, but then we've
Hmm.
got LinkedIn, and then we've got TikTok, and then we've got
Yep.
Twitter, and then we've got
We're working
there's
on that, and we're also going to be integrating with Telegram, WhatsApp, and Messenger apps, and SMS text very soon as well.
okay, so I will be the first one in line because from a productivity perspective, even though I have team members help me, it's actually still overwhelming because there are some questions on there that people are asking
Hmm.
follow up to my productivity tips
Hmm.
and videos that, or people will send me actual, like you did in your Facebook group, like they'll send me a video message or they'll send me like a voice memo.
Mm.
And so they're expecting me to get back with them, not somebody on my team typically. And so it's so much to manage though.
Yep.
And so even though we are wash, rinse, repeating our content, so like I'll create one thing on TikTok and then now we're putting it on Reels and then we send out a YouTube to our email list and then all these questions are coming in, which I absolutely love because people are paying attention to
Yep.
technology finally.
Hmm. Hmm.
But oh my gosh, it's like a full-time job to like get to all of these questions.
Yep.
And so it's like, am I doing the right thing by like putting all these tips
No,
out there?
listening, and or we call it social listening, is definitely something that we're looking into now. Because of that reason, we have our Facebook group, and people are asking questions all the time, and so we're going to be allowing other people to do basically the same thing that I'm doing, which is responding in video, responding in text, as a founder. And so there are quite a bit of capabilities that are coming down the road, but that's exactly why we want your audience to join our Facebook group, Content Masters by HelloWoofy, and tell us what do you need, what is happening in your small business that you want to be automated, you want artificial intelligence to give you insights around, right? Because 90% of our roadmap is heavily influenced by people that are suggesting features in that group. And also every Friday we have client calls, client networking calls. We call it client therapy sessions. Anyone can ask me any question about how do you install Facebook pixels, how do you build a website, anything for an hour. And a lot of our other customers actually start helping each other as well. So that's, again, we're building a very different community. Actually, very soon, by the end of the year or early next year, we're going to be allowing all of our small businesses to potentially hire one another on our platform. So if you're a small business owner that wants to support another one and you need copywriters, definitely have copywriters on board. And so we're kind of building our own little village that's supporting small businesses, and we're obviously we're doing really well.
Yeah. Okay. So for people that, I mean, you've really built a great, I mean, you have a large team.
Mhm.
And so are you taking time every single day to answer those questions, or do you
Oh
more
yeah,
like,
7 to 11 o'clock, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. A couple hours in between for lunch and dinner and it's like social stuff. Zendesk tickets, Facebook group posts, taking videos of people, in terms of responses to people's comments. Those are things that I still have to do. Obviously, at some point we have to scale to with one or more people to do it, but the idea is it's super high touch point and people want to feel that people are listening to them. They're not just getting shoved into an email inbox or a Zendesk ticket inbox. And so I do these kinds of calls, more 15, 20 times a day, and we end up closing obviously 90% of the calls because people appreciate the 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 attention to detail in that.
oh my gosh. And like just in looking at your team, you've got people that specifically focus on iOS. You have
Hmm.
people that specifically focus on Android, which is one of the I feel like I get this question every single day because I talk about a lot of apps because we
Yep.
use a lot of automation. I feel like I am like the only girl in the creative industry that uses like 30 plus apps and platforms, and my
Yep.
accountant is like, "Do we really need to do use?" And I'm like, "Listen, I don't mind paying 3, 4, 5 grand a month for all of these platforms as
Yep.
long as it's making me money and it is providing a good customer service and it is saving me paying another full time person or two or three or four
Yep.
sometimes." So
Yep.
that's what you have to look at is like, what is the ROI on these investments? And some, like, we have some clients and they're like, "Well, how did you do that?" And I'm like, "Well, it's this app." And they're like, "Oh my God, another app? How
Yep.
many apps do I have to pay for?" And so I'm like, but if you really want to take advantage of
Mm,
AI and
mm.
take advantage of all of these amazing platforms that specifically are leading in just one thing, which I appreciate the focus.
Yep.
Like, I'm okay with that because we can't be everything to everybody.
Yep.
But I mean, you really have, and my favorite team members is the chief wolf officer and the chief meow officer and the chief purr officer. Are
Yep.
those real pets?
Those are, yeah. And I'm actually, I've just been approved to foster
Yes.
dogs as well. So we'll see if I'm getting any more. But yeah, we love animals, and as you can see, there's a quote that from Gandhi. It says you can see how great a country is simply by the way it treats its animals. And
Hmm.
we definitely take that into account when it comes to treating our customers, treating obviously the pets, but people partners and podcaster hosts, and it's all important when it comes to karma and whatever you want to believe. But things people are important, and how you treat them is important as well.
Absolutely. So what are the emojis that you showed me, like
Sure.
the top trending in the world right now? Do those change every day, every hour, every month? Like
they
how does that work?
They do, and if you take a look at our login screen for the API we built, which is the Emoji Data API, it'll actually give you a little bit of understanding of like exactly what the sentiment is, which is like what does the world feel in real time. So, for example, let's see. I'll share my screen real quick. So the API, which is essentially the technology we built for ourselves, if you click on login, you'll see that it's giving you an understanding of on the left side, how joyful, how, anticipation, sadness, surprise in real time. So it's, we're kind of trying to figure out now is how do we use this data to kind of give you better insights in real time so that you can make better decisions, not just, you're just not, just winging it when it comes to coming up with the right copy, the right emojis. And as you've seen here, we're also, you built a ticker that allows you to figure out which emojis are being used in real time. That combined with what you saw earlier, which is the complex network graph. And again, this, for people who aren't able to see, this is the complex graph we were showing you, the web essentially of which emojis, which words, which hashtags are related to one another, is going to be very powerful. We're going to be actually combining the two interfaces very quickly.
This is y'all, this is just the coolest thing ever. I'm just fascinated. So, not to age this episode, but we're in the middle of like election.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
depending on like what's going, I'm assuming what's going on like in the world, like if it's a holiday or an election day or something going on in the world, I'm sure that that triggers certain emojis that we might not necessarily use on a day-to-day basis. So have you seen like this huge uptick of like
Yep.
all the voting stuff?
Yeah, so that's actually what we were hoping to do is have all of this built by election day. And so I'm looking at the graph right now going up and down. So like anticipation just went up, joy went down, and sadness just went up for a second, and then trust went up at the same time. So it's kind of like, and this is based on real-time data. So it depends. What we're looking to do is give you all this information in real time so that you can contour your messages accordingly, and not be completely off base when it comes to your approach to the sentiment itself or the posting itself. So as we develop this more, we'll include more data, again, for the price of a coffee into the platform, and hopefully that helps, obviously the small businesses get more done than what their biggest companies, the biggest companies who have like unlimited marketing budgets are doing, which is using a lot of data to crush the small businesses.
Yeah, and that is the truth.
Yep.
So if you guys go to the website, hellowoofy.com,
Mm-hmm.
and at the top, the Facebook group that you mentioned, Join Content
Mm-hmm.
Masters, that is on the top there, but we will put the link in the show notes.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that you just got a bunch of people over on my team.
That's
They're like,
awesome.
this is incredible. Like, this is so neat. Like congratulations on everything that you're doing because data always wins. And I
Sure.
know that and I've learned it the hard way. And so when it's easy to consume and like move, especially like in a creative picture format,
Mm-hmm.
like that's it's like those are my people, you know, where
Exactly.
it's like the graphs you showed earlier, like that is what some of our dashboards look like. And so I'm just asking my team members who know that I don't really respond to stuff like that. I'm like, okay, what does this mean? And they're like, well,
Mm,
this graph means this and this graph means that. And I was like, okay, I
mm-hmm.
get it. But like, how is that going to help us make a better business decision for next week's ads?
Mm.
And that's another thing. Like you mentioned Facebook ads. And so I'm assuming like by having all this insight, you can run your ads much, much better. And the outcome and the ROI is so much greater just by using this data.
Next, the next thing we want to do is I talked about SMS marketing because the interface is already there, with Alexa Scheduler as well coming out very soon, Shopify coming out very soon, and a whole bunch of integrations. The Facebook ads and paid advertising is definitely on our roadmap for early next year. So you can, instantaneously come up with the best combination and run that.
So if I sign up for your email list,
Sure.
do you all send out like emails like, hey, this is coming, get in beta, or
Yep.
hey, this is okay, so I'll be on your email list today. And so
And definitely join our Facebook group because again,
yes, I'm gonna.
you're probably going to be one of the most beneficial people who are going to benefit the most from the platform, especially when the Alexa scheduler comes out, and be able to schedule content directly into your listeners' living room, so long as they opt in, obviously, and they download your skill, whatever you end up calling it. But that would be super helpful.
Yeah, this is so awesome. Like I'm so excited. It's
Thank
like
you.
the yeah, it's like the day that when iTunes sent, or the podcast sent out and that said like, hey, for everybody that has an iPhone, you can say like, hey Siri, listen to Business Unveiled and listen to the latest episode. And so just by me putting out a little video, a 15-second TikTok video telling people like, hey, did you know you could do this? Like we got lots of more subscribers, and
Yep.
people still, they were on our email list and they know that we put them out every Tuesday,
Yep.
but they didn't realize that they could tell Siri that. And then it started a whole new trend of them starting to use Siri more. So it's just, all this stuff is so awesome. Oh my God, I
Yep.
could talk your ear off all day long, but we're out of time. So I'll
Well, it
be
was a
signing up.
pleasure.
Yes, for Facebook and your emails, and everybody listening, you have to go check this out. Like this is the coolest shit I've seen in like a really long time. And you guys know, like I am a tech geek, a software
Mhm.
geek. And
Mhm.
so I haven't seen anything like this. So this was incredible. I'm so happy
Thank
that
you.
you came to be on the podcast.
Thank you.
Yay.
Well, a
That is
pleasure. And if
awesome.
there's anything I can do for your audience or yourself, just Arjun, ARJUN at HelloWoofy.com. Visit our website, join our Facebook group, Content Masters by HelloWoofy, and email me what's your story in terms of, what can we do for you? What, features are you looking for us to build? Let us know, because we'll most likely actually end up doing that. 90% of our roadmap, like I said, is influenced by customers, even potential customers.
This is awesome. And I'm expecting to see your new foster puppy in
Okay.
Facebook soon.
Absolutely.
So I'll be looking for it. So everybody, thank you so much for listening today. You'll have to go watch this on YouTube. Again, we'll send out the links to you guys. I'm so glad that we were recording the screen part,
Thank you.
because I'm so visual. So this made all the difference in the world. This was
Yep.
amazing.
Yep.
So everybody, thank you so much for listening. Have a great day and be sure to tune in next week.
That's it for this week's episode of Business Unveiled. Now that you have all the tools that you need to conquer the world and GSD, get shit done, would you share this with your friends and fellow business leaders? One thing that would really help us and help new listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a comment in Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you tune in and listen to Business Unveiled. You can check out the show notes at angelaprofit.com/podcast and link up with us on social media so you can share your biggest insights. And I want to know your aha moments. Until next week, remember, the profitable shifts and structures you're creating in your business help you be more present in your life. So get out there and GSD.